Hello, my fellow energy explorers. Today I'm going to talk about how you are talking yourself into having a fat body. That's a long sentence. The reason why I'm making this video is because I was actually talking towards a woman, and energetically I saw things happening that I was like, what? Why are you doing this? And it made me realize that actually she was talking herself into the body that she had. And okay, just things are things as they are. So when you look at someone, you can see if they are taking care of themselves, yes or no. Like sometimes it's really, I have to laugh because, yeah, there was this moment that I was with a friend, and we were looking at someone and we were like, okay, this person is so obviously not taking care of himself. Just had to laugh, and then we joked about it. It's very important to have some humor nowadays because it seems like we have some lack of it. Okay, but to go back, I was talking towards her, and we were talking about her son and stuff that happened, and I noticed that she was in her energy very in control, which actually freaked the son out, which I also explained to her, or I like pointed it out. And I noticed when I was talking to her that like all these threads of thoughts were passing by, and I saw how she was like also in certain moments there was some food, and I saw that she was like immediately thinking about how it would make her fat if she would eat it, and she ate like just a very small biscuit or piece of a biscuit, and she was like constantly like repeating these things towards her, like, if I'm gonna eat this, I'm gonna be fat, and it's not good for me. Now I've eaten it, so now I'm gonna be fat. But what, so it's clear that she was like obviously in her mind repeating these things. But what made me very curious was actually how I saw that her whole energy changed. And it was as if also her physical, I don't know how I have to explain it, I'm gonna try. But like it was as if her physical body was also like in this blubber, like this jelly kind of way, vibing. So it's like energy that is vibing. And from the moment I saw the thoughts of, it's not good for me, I'm gonna be fat, and now it's gonna be even worse, I saw the jelly like material in her energy, like it was really expanding. And I was like, oh my God, she's doing this. Like she's making her physical body fat. And then I had to think about what you focus on grows. And it's actually exactly the same thing. If you are going to be eating something and you're like, this is bad for me, I'm going to be fat, and da, 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 yeah, then you betcha it's gonna be. I'm not telling you, okay, from now on you can eat cake the whole time and just tell yourself you're not gonna be fat. I would not advise that. It's just try to be aware of what is actually going on into your mind. I recently did this macro diet that turned out to be a small disaster because I cannot have cow milk. I cannot, like, I tried to eat not so much meat and fish. So it was actually really difficult for me to get the proteins that I needed. And then this short amount of time, I really had to search for other kind of ways to get my proteins. I couldn't eat lentils. I couldn't eat chickpeas. Like there were all kinds of foods that were like not advisable to eat, but that I knew, okay, but normally this is what I eat to get some proteins. So it was a disaster. The thing was, when I was in this program, it was for 3 weeks I was in it, I saw all these pictures of men and women being like losing seven kilos and becoming very slim so that the muscles would come out more. And I remember that at the third week I was like, wow, mentally this is not doing me good, because I actually got constipated also because I was eating way much more vegetables to like have enough of food inside, because I'm used to eating a lot. But I didn't get enough of proteins. It was really, it just messed up my whole system. But I'm happy I tried it. It's always good to try stuff and see if something is for you, yes or no. And it also made me realize that I actually don't eat enough of proteins. So I'm like working on that. But I noticed because of seeing all these images, which I'm actually trying to avoid when I'm like, if I'm reading a magazine or if I'm on social media, I really try to avoid this shit. For me, it's shit. Because I'm like, my body is my body. And I honestly really love my body. Yet, as I was in this group and this group chat, and they were sharing their experiences, and mine was so shitty. And I even got to hear like, well, you're very peculiar case because nobody will never have this problem, blah blah blah. But yeah, that again, nice experience. I learned a lot. But I noticed that my whole way of looking at myself really was infected. Yeah, kind of infected. It was infected, but it really it changed gradually, like day by day. It started to change the way I was looking at myself, and I noticed, okay, my clothes are still the same. Okay, weight is like in between 1 or 2 kilos. It shifts. It's always like that. It's like I have an upper and I have a down, and like in between that it shifts. I also normally never weigh myself, but during this period I had to weigh myself every day. And I had to like measure like everything, like here and here, like measure if I was like expanding, yes or no. And yeah, it just didn't do me good because it was so focused on losing weight and looking amazing and flying high. And like they were so focused on how you looked way much more than how you actually felt. And this is supposed to be this diet that you have a lot of energy. And I was like, my energy is just going down. Like, what's happening here? So it really influenced me. And as I was talking with this woman, now actually I feel way much better now. But when I was talking with this woman, I realized like this has an effect on like not only how you view yourself, but also how your body is changing. And that's also something I noticed after the macro diet, that I really was like having the feeling that I was, and I could also sense it when I was putting on clothes that normally don't have any like problems with, that I could just put on. That I was like, wait a minute. And I was like, how is this possible? Because, okay, I did change my way of eating before, but it was already 2 weeks later. So I was like, what is this? So now I actually start to realize that the way you look at yourself and the way you're actually talking about yourself, it really depends. It really has a big influence on how it will be in the future. So for instance, when I was during COVID for me was an awesome time. Like really it was, especially the first lockdown. I noticed that I was so at ease, and I like every day I went to the forest. Every day I went for a walk of at least 2 hours, and I didn't see people, so I didn't have like a lot of input that I needed to like let go afterwards. And I noticed that my body changed, but like really in such a way that I was like, wow, this is like the body that I always wanted to have. And the strange thing is, I didn't have to change anything about it. And then I noticed it was because I was becoming way much more relaxed. I didn't get people looking at me like, oh my God, I think she's fat. And I'm like this sponge. So if someone thinks something in a projection about me, I just take it in. So it's also something that I really have to be aware of, that I'm not repeating it in my mind. And I didn't have it anymore. I didn't see any people. And if people did see me, they saw this on the Zoom. And sometimes I had to like show something, but like it was nothing. And it made me really realize that when I'm really at ease, also the way I was eating was totally different. I only ate what I felt that I needed. And I also, when I went to the shop, if I was allowed to go to the shop, I noticed that I just like took stuff that I would normally not get, but I was like, okay, I need this. And I never had the feeling that I didn't have enough. During this micro diet, I had the whole time the feeling that I didn't have enough. Why are we dieting? Actually, it's such shit. Okay, back to COVID. Okay, so what it made me realize is that because I was so at ease with myself and actually really started to love myself in such a way that I had never ever felt before. When I saw this woman again, and I start to see like this jelly kind of thing in her energy, like this, I started to realize like, what are you bringing in? And know how it, like, let's say that this is your jelly kind of energy. I don't know how to say it, but let's say it's this. And just imagine, what are you bringing in? And when it's something that is as jelly and flowing as this is, you don't have a problem. There is no problem because there's space. There's space because it flows. Let's flow like this. It flows with it. It stays within the energy field that you made. It just flows with it. And sometimes it just even goes a little bit smaller to intensify, I don't know what. And then all of a sudden you get like all these inputs. And you get this input. Do you see what's happening? First of all, it's not flowing that much. And second of all, it's like expanding. And for certain people, this doesn't mean that they're becoming fat. Of course not. For others, it does. It really depends on where your trauma is, where you're focused on, blah, 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 and so on. But no, when shit comes in, I'm not talking about only telling yourself how bad you are and how fat you are and how you shouldn't be eating this and you should be eating that, blah, blah, blah. I'm not talking only about that. I'm also talking about toxins that you get into your body. Like I said, sponge, like I feel everything that someone is saying and how they are sometimes really addressing it towards me when they're just being hard on themselves and using someone else to project on. It's just know that it just all sinks in. Okay, what can you do about this? Well, if you're like, okay, I don't want to become fat, but I have this huge issue with it because it's been this big fight and I've been doing diets all the time. I would never do diets. I would because I did, but I would not advise it. If you do it, and most of the time I'm like, I want to try this. Let's see what this brings. But dieting, okay, again. But if you're like, I lost it. Yeah, how can you change it? So the only thing you actually have to do is just put this image of you, of how you want yourself to look like, and stick with that image. I remember when I was in Thailand, yeah, at that specific spot where I was, it was all models and DJs, and it was all about the superficial, like how you looked. And I often got to hear that I was fat. The thing is, I'm actually laughing now, but at that time I didn't like it. Yeah, everybody wouldn't. But I remembered on that moment that I was like really bringing into my system, like, no, this is like the body I want to have. This is the body I want to like be in. And really already be in this image and this feeling of like, this is the body I have. Even when you're like, I don't look like this, blah, 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 blah. Even then, you just keep on repeating towards yourself, this is the body that I have. And also in the first lockdown, I did the exact same thing. I was like, okay, I've got time now, so I can like work on this. And in essence, I didn't have to do a thing. It just went very naturally. But now I realize it was actually because I was already like priming my mental state. Don't go and be like, yes, I am very thin and muscular or something like that. Like these affirmations, I used to be very strict on them, but then gradually I started to realize like, I'm not feeling it. So it's really important that you have the feeling with it. The feeling that you're like, this is already there. It is so important. There is also this trick that I learned, what was it again? On some YouTube video, and it actually really helps. Why is it that I have this beautiful body? Why is it that I feel so confident? Why is it that I have the body of a ballet dancer? Why is it that I have the body of a bodybuilder? Depends on which body you want to have, and you just choose. So, first of all, get the clear image of how you want to look, like how you want to physically look, and the feeling that you're going to have with it. So crucial. Next to that, also ask yourself the question like, why do I have this beautiful body? The thing is, you're asking your subconscious to like, hey, why is it that I have this beautiful body? And your subconscious is like, okay, I'm gonna go and get work to. I'm gonna go and get to work for this. It's really. I know it sounds really crazy, but it actually really helps. I'm trying it already a few days with certain things, and I'm like, every time I'm saying it, I feel my energy like. So I'm like, okay, why not? If it helps, and if it's like, and I feel that my energy is lifted up, then I'm really okay with it. So really be mindful about what you're thinking. That is actually the main thing that you have to take out of this. So also with when you're an entrepreneur, really, what are you thinking? I have a friend of mine who just started his business, and I just feel that he's like constantly going bazookas, and then the other time he's like, no, everything's gonna be okay, and then he's like, no, shit, this is not gonna work, and then but you're just know that your system is taking this all in. Things cannot flow like this. Bring yourself into a relaxed state and tell yourself, you're doing an amazing job. Why is it that I'm so successful? Why is it that I'm so happy? Why is it that I'm so beautiful? Why is it that I have this ballet dancer body? Why is it that I have this bodybuilder body? Why is it that I have this Ido Portal kind of body? Just like get it clear in vision, and also detect when you're like again, and try to take yourself out of this. So I hope it helped, and I'll see you next time.